What up, YouTube? I'm John3107 2000, putting out another video. Today, I'm talking about my fish tanks. What I'm about to do is my Amazon sword in this tank has run 2 runners, one of which has many plants with huge root systems. So, what I'm gonna do is I bought terracotta pots, little excuse my pets, little 3-inch terracotta pots. Bought a whole thing of 20 of them for like 20 bucks on Amazon. Might have been a little less, but it's a box of 20 of them. What I got here is a bucket that is holding a 20-pound bag of Eco-Complete. I've used this stuff for years, love it. It's great. However, in this bucket here, I have Fluval Spectrum, and basically my plan is to pull those Amazon swords out, cut them up, put a base in these pots of Eco-Complete along with a root tab, and then put the plant in and cap it with the Fluval Spectrum. And then between these 2 tanks and 2 that are off camera, I'm gonna start placing them in there so that they can grow. I also have some Java Fern. If I have any of this stuff left when I get the Amazon swords all done, I will absolutely pot a couple of the Java Ferns. I have one over in the corner and one in the back in this tank that I actually would like to pull out of the tank and pot those. I got 20 pots, and this is what I got for substrate. Good to do it to Amazon swords, because if you don't, the entire root system will take over the tank. I know you can't see it, but if you were to get up close to this tank, the roots of this main Amazon sword that's throwing the runners, if you tried to lift that out of the tank, the substrate and all would come up right as like a whole carpet. We tried when we got that tank. It was an established tank that a friend of ours had given us. They wanted it out of their house. Had livestock in it. We didn't want them just to flush it, so we took it. And I planned on taking everything out of it and coming here and rebuilding it. And when I went to grab that plant, everything came with it. And I went, nope, new plan, just drain it down as far as we can, and we'll take it like that and fill it back up when we get there. So that's what we did, with a lot of help. So yeah, without further ado, when I stand up, I'll probably lose part of my head. Sorry, not a huge tragedy. I don't think anybody's really gonna worry. I am gonna stop the video because, as you see, this tank has a little algae problem. So I want to make sure when I get those plants out and I cut them up, I'm washing them off and getting as much of that off without hurting the plants or the roots as I physically can, so that I'm not spreading that algae from tank to tank to tank. So yeah, without further ado, I've got a pair of stainless steel scissors that I'm gonna go in there and cut the main branch down as low as you can to the base, because the plant does not know that you have cut that off. So if you do it up high, the plant's gonna still send all the nutrients that it was up that stem for no reason. The plants are obviously gone. So get it as close to the base, that way the plant doesn't waste its time sending the nutrients there, and it can be a healthy plant, a mother plant, and shoot off more runners, which she has done. Those don't have roots on them yet, so I'm not going to be planting those. but I believe it's the 5 on the main I'm going to be pulling out. And also in my 29 gallon, I have a little Amazon sword, and she has done the same thing, thrown off 2 runners, one of which has 4 plants on it that have roots, maybe only 3, and then has a 4th plant that's starting. Again, excuse my pets. So yeah, without further ado, I'm gonna go in there and cut them. I'm gonna pause the video after I cut them and get them out of the tank, so that I can run over to my sink and rinse them off and try and get as much of that algae off as possible. And then I'll come back and show you what I'm gonna do with these guys. And actually, I can go ahead and just set them in there. It's not gonna hurt anything. So without further ado, and here's the root tabs we're gonna use. And these root tabs are by Aquarium Co-op, which is a bunch of guys online, I believe. And these are just easy root tabs, root zone fertilizer. And you just put one in fish, shrimp, and snail safe. So we're going to put one in each of these pots to help the new plant grow. So again, my head's probably going to get cut off. I'm not going to be talking a whole lot. I'm just going to go in there and clip it, pause the video, go rinse them off, come back, show you guys, and then show you what I'm going to do. Alright, here we go. Having this giant dog bed in the way is fantastic. I recommend it to anybody. Alright, so again, you want to get as close down to the base as you can, because the plant doesn't know that you've clipped it. So if you leave it all the way up here, the plant's still going to think it's still there and send nutrients up. Where if you clip it close to the base, hopefully the plant will realize, oh, there's nothing there, and go on about its business. And actually, before we get going, yeah, my fish are not going to be happy that I'm sticking my arm in the tank, but it is what it is. I did have these lilies completely covering this. I had to go in a few days ago and cut all them. And same thing with those. If you're running with the tiger lotus, tiger lily, I believe they're the same plant. But if you're doing that, like I'm gonna have to trim these 2 leaves up here that are going to the surface. And you can hopefully train your lily to stay like more bush, but I have 15 and a half of these now all over the tank. So I'm gonna have to start cutting them and transplanting them, or giving them to friends, or selling them online, whatever the case may be. But okay, here we go. Now that that's done, here we go. Again, try to follow it all the way down as far as you can. It's really hard to see. All of these leaves look huge, and I can't seem to get around that one. And what I do is I try to get up high on the root with the scissors and follow the root all the way down as far as I can, trying not to catch anything else in there. Wow. Yep. There you go. Real quick. Again, has algae all over it, so I want to take it over to my sink, give it a rinse. Hopefully that'll give this other one that has plants, it just doesn't have a whole lot of plants with roots yet. Where these have huge roots. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'll be right back after I rinse this off. Alright, now I've washed them off. I went as hard as you can without really damaging the plant. There still is a little green on them. And as I was pulling the stem off, I realized probably at least 2 of these you could split in half and have 2 plants. I don't want to do that because I don't have enough space for the plants I have. So I don't want to do that. I'm just going to put this right into a pot. So yep, that's the Amazon sword, nice and healthy. Still growing new leaves right here. Nice root system. Although when I plant it, I may cut them back a little, just to fit it in the pot. So yeah, I mean, I got 4 of them. That's the biggest one. I know for a fact I could split this one in 2. I'm pretty sure I could split this into 2. Yep, absolutely. Without any pressure at all, you could split that and make it 2. And then I have 2 little guys. Oh, sorry, 3 little guys. This one doesn't have a root on it. It was at the end of the vine. And one thing that surprised me about this variant of Amazon, which is different than any other Amazon I've ever seen, is this sprouts flowers out of this little pedestal stem that you see right there. If I can hold it still long enough. That actually turns into a big white flower if you leave it alone. I did not leave it alone, so it probably will not flower. But I mean, there are these little buds on every one of these that I doubt will make flowers now that I've cut them off from their mom. Probably gonna be a little pissed off, especially when I put them in different tanks, as the tanks probably have a slight different makeup, especially this one from the rest. The rest of them were all given to me. This was my only tank, and this leopard gecko, so this takes care of itself for the most part. Add water, clean up his poop, feed him crickets. So we've had him for years. This is his cage. But yeah, this one's the only one I had when they called and said, we want these other tanks out of the house, so come get them or we're just gonna flush everything. And I went, no, please don't do that. I'm on my way. So without further ado, again, just a little bit of water in here. 3-inch terracotta pots. So all I'm gonna do, probably do this without any scoop or anything like that. Just go in there, and it's my cat Fluff. Again, these have irrigation holes in the bottom, so whatever water's in it's probably gonna leak out. But I have it filled pretty much to that. I'll probably actually take just a tad bit out now that I see how much I have in there, just so I'm a little bit lower than that lip. But because I'm going to be pushing some of that out of the way for the plant to go in there. So yeah, I would say I've got it to like right here. But again, I'm going to make a hole down the middle with my finger, which is also going to release water as well. Alright, I'll set that down for a second, because again, I want to try to do this nice. Again, this may shock the plant a little bit, but it shouldn't really hurt it. Just to make it nice. Take this pot. Oh, no, hold on. Root tab. My cats are being crazy. I have no idea what's going on with them. There we go. Alright. And I mean, these are like a capsule that you would take for your medicine. I'll try to hold it up to the camera here so that you can see. I'll bring the bottle with me. think that it's supposed to crack the top too, but I haven't shot. But these are the little capsules, the little fertilizer capsule that I'm going to stick in the pot with each plant. And this is the stuff here. So you can pause the video if you want to see what it is. I didn't buy it. This stuff was all given to me by this lady. It seems to work incredible, so I would happily buy it again. But I didn't. I used to be a squirt in the tank fertilizer guy more than root tab guy, and I've since done some studies and checked stuff out, and they're like, nope, you definitely need root tabs, especially with a plant like this. And then I have a little measuring cup in here that I'm going to scoop this up and just put some in here. Again, this is a Fluval Spectrum. I'm just going to spread it around as you would with any plant, I guess. Just make sure that the roots are buried. Okay, I'm probably going to lose my head when I stand up, so, but I'm going to open this tank and I'm going to put it in there. And again, that's probably going to shock the plant more than me cutting its root. There's that. They've uprooted a plant, which is awesome. This is going to be fun because I got to get to that back corner. Just gently put it in the tank because again, that Fluval Spectrum will float right out of there. I have two big plecos in here. They probably will help root this up at some point. But I'm just going to stick it in the back of the tank right there. It's where my smaller light is. So these aren't high light demand plants by any means. So not like you really have to be concerned about, oh no, the wood's blocking some of the light, whatever. They're not high light. They can take it. The tanks both have CO2. These two here both have CO2. So I may actually push it back a little bit more just to get a little more light, but the CO2 is right there. Where it's injected into the tank is right there. So that should be the first plant to get it. Alright, on with the show. Here we go. Here's another one that will do the same thing. So I'll go ahead and scoop up a fair amount. Not that much. You want to leave a little, well, I want to leave a little lip at the top. I want to tell people what they want to do. Just so that the plecos and stuff, they'll have a little bit harder time uprooting these. At least I hope. Because I have some pretty large plecos. As you see in that, well, hopefully you guys can see in that tank, I have that red plant that's floating. That is thank you plecos. That's exactly what they do. I think I'm going to cut these back as well. You're probably going to break them when you put them into the Eco Complete anyway. So cut them, make them nice. Unfortunately, this plant has some algae that I could not get off. I did trim a few leaves off of these just to get rid of the high algae. And as it grows, you'll be able to get rid of more leaves, hopefully, in other tanks. The water culture isn't necessarily perfect for that stuff to grow, because it doesn't seem to grow. I have more algae on the floor in this than I do anywhere else. Come over here, get some Fluval Spectrum, and just put it around it. Not a hard process. Just try to work it around the plant. Make sure the plant's sitting up out of the soil. I cat obviously thinks he's a star. Hey, thank you. So here's pot number 2. Root tab, eco complete about 3/4 of the way up, and then just capped off with the Fluval Spectrum that has been rinsed. Hence why so much water and shit. And we're gonna go up here. This also 75. Actually, I don't know. I might throw this one right here in the back corner. Maybe in this back corner. I put a Java fern in there, but it disappeared, so I may have to move those little rocks, but I might be okay. I'm wondering if I have enough room under that. Yep, I sure do. And there, my friends, is pot number 2. Now, again, on those plants, I guarantee you, I could have split them in half and turned each one of those into 2. I just don't have the space to do that, so I'll let them continue growing as one, hopefully, because God forbid, I don't have any friends who are serious about this. I have a few friends who, I hesitate to use the word, but dabble in fish tanks and whatnot, and they usually come to me and, hey, I need some plants. Yep, no problem. Give them plants, and they kill them off, and they'll come back to me and, hey, I need plant. Yep. I mean, pretty much with the 4 tanks that I pretty much have an endless supply, so I really don't have to worry about it. But for a long time, until I figured out how to do this, which is not hard, I paid $10 per plant that I'd bring home, and the water would be wrong and it would melt. I tried some of our plants that you can get at your big box pet store, and I put them in African cichlid tanks, and obviously the water parameters were nowhere near where they needed to be, so the plant would just melt and fade away. Not to mention the cichlids would eat it, chew on it, or just rip it out of the ground until it was floating. So they really weren't too interested in eating it per se, chewing on it maybe, but not really eating it. They wanted something alive. You put anything alive in there and they were all over it. We used to do mealworms had a little mealworm farm. And again, that's another thing that if you wanted to do, you have cichlids or you have geckos or anything that'll eat a mealworm, that is super easy to do. You go down to Walmart, and I think it's for $6. You buy a 3-tiered plastic paper storage bin, plastic, and then you just buy a big thing of generic Walmart oats. And again, this is not a pledge to Walmart. Just wherever you go, just get a big thing of oats, dump it in there. Go to your big box pet store, buy a little tub of 50 mealworms, dump them in the top, and there's videos online that will show you exactly what to do, but they'll actually, over time, if you just leave them alone, they'll turn into beetles, and at that point they start laying eggs, and you pull the beetles out of there, and then a whole new crop of mealworms will come up, and you'll probably have more than you can get rid of, and you'll end up just trying to figure out ways to get rid of them. I used to throw them in my cichlid tank and feed my geckos and all that stuff. So, and I within a month of doing the process, I had more mealworms calling all my friends who had fish tanks going, have you ever thought about throwing mealworms in your tank? So, and one of my buddies got them and he'd give them to his chickens. So, I mean, I found ways to get rid of it, but it can become kind of overwhelming pretty quick, because you just end up, if you just do that and every once in a while throw like a apple core, or like if you're in the fridge and your lettuce is going bad, just rip off a couple of leaves of the lettuce and throw it in. They'll get all the water they need from that. They'll eat the oats. And over time, the oats will turn to almost sawdust. At that point, you kind of need to clean it out, and or at least add more oats. I don't think you want to clean it out, because there's probably, if you've been doing the process long enough for that to happen, you probably have eggs in there as well. So you don't want to do that. But yeah, just throw any scrap vegetable, preferably raw, not cooked. Um, and they'll get everything they need for moisture. If you eat apples, just throw the apple core in there. You can throw banana or orange peels and banana, but I wouldn't suggest that. I don't think they get enough water out of that. So, and again, just filling it down to here, making a hole, throwing a root tab in, just lightly covering that up. Yikes. Grabbing the next plant again. I believe I'm going to trim the roots here gently, so they're just nice and even. Put the plant in, bury up the roots. Again, you don't have to go real hard with the Eco Complete, because you know you're gonna use a covering of the spectrum, blue ball spectrum. And again, this is not an endorsement for any company. If I was gonna say anybody, it would, that I've used the most, it's been Eco Complete. So I forget who it is that makes it, something C, Coral C or something like that. So if they ever see this and you want to hook your boy up with some, I could use a ton. I have 2 more tanks in the other room that I want to make immersion tanks. I just don't have enough time to do it. I've got a ton of projects and stuff going on. So, and again, here's a root tab, Eco Complete on the bottom, blue ball spectrum on the top, plant buried well in there. Let's see, where do I want to put this one? Maybe back in this far corner. Hopefully you guys can still see. Oh, gonna piss off my, it was growing roots. I do have to get that planted again. Yikes, a lot of that fell out. I'm just being careful to set it right there where it can grow in the jar and be happy. Now, while I'm in here, I have a couple plants that they have since uprooted, so I'll go ahead and push those back in the soil. Here's that one. Where did that other plant go? Come here. Where are you? If I had enough room, hell, I'd put this thing in a pot. I just don't have enough room for it as it stands. But it was growing, so let's see what happens. Oh, I just bent it. I hope I didn't kill it. Let's see if the other fish in here uproot it. And this is what I was saying. I'm kind of now out of room, so I'm not real sure what I'm gonna do for the other two plants I have. Yeah, and this is the problem. And actually, before I go any further here, I just wiped my hand off for no reason because I want to grab this Java fern that has now grabbed all these rocks. Well, it doesn't matter, that's fine. I'm going to grab this Java fern because it keeps wanting to come out of the soil and be a floater on his own right. So I'm going to be a little bit more hesitant to trim the roots on that one. They take a while to grow, but Java fern is a beginner plant at any light that you have, whatever. It'll do fine. It's one of the starter plants. You know, if you're just getting into the plant world, you don't know enough about the lights and whatnot. I can't say as I blame you. I used to, when T8, T5 were the big things, nickel halide, those were big. I could have told you a lot. Now that everything is LED, I have to take people's word on, oh no, this is what you want for your plant. Because obviously, you can very easily, if you don't have everything right, grow algae. So, I don't think that's what anybody's looking for. Let's see if I can get that to stay for a second while I reach in here and grab yet another root tab. Bury that down. Just put a quick layer of that. Alright. Now this is luckily has some Eco Complete on it, so it will naturally want to stay down, which is nice because most plants want to float. They really, really want to float. These want to stay up in the top plant. They don't want to bury. Alright, well, hey, listen, buddy. 10% smarter than the equipment you're working with is what my drill sergeant used to tell me all the time. I don't believe I'm going to beat this plant. I think this plant is very much going to beat me. I am having a terrible time with the roots. Alright, you know what? I tried to play nice, but you're just being a pain in the ass, so goodbye. Now, I know I can bury the roots. In there. You don't have to bury these that far. They actually prefer that you didn't. But you can. Again, the best way to grow any one of these plants that you see me messing with is actually immersion, sorry. And basically what that is you, there's several ways you can do it. Again, you can look online on YouTube and people are more than happy to share their ways of doing it. But basically you don't totally submerge the plant. You only put the base and the roots in the water and you allow the whole leaf and stem system to stay out of the water. People recommend it for Java fern, for your Amazon swords, anything like that. Your tiger lilies, you can do that way. Your Anubis, you can do that way. So yeah, anything will take to being immersed, if you will. Alright, there's a Java fern. Still have 2 more of these to do. So let's get 2 more terracotta pots and keep going with this, although I'm not at all sure where I'm going with these guys. And these are small, so you may want to put a little bit more into the pot just so they stick up a little. because both these plants are small. One doesn't have roots, which kind of concerns me, but it is what it is. I already cut it off the vine, so again, but not quite that much, John. All right, scoop a little bit of that out of there. Trying not to waste any of this because I plan on using whatever of this that's left in the back corner of that tank. It could use some buildup. Somehow, over the last 5 years of running that tank, somehow it has A, all the Eco Complete has been pushed this way, but B, there's a lot missing out of there. I'm guessing it just got sucked up when we were siphoning the tank or whatever. I honestly can't tell you another thing that could have happened to the gravel. I've never scooped any out of there, so I know it's not that. Yeah, this stuff does not want to bury into the Eco Complete. This is just a tiny little plant, though. I get it, little guy. Yeah. And what I've done here, because I was having such trouble, is I pretty much just buried the plant completely. And then I'll gently grab the center and pull up. Brush some of the crap off the plant so that the leaves and the bulbs of the plant are out of the soil. And stand up and try to find a place for it. Apparently my dog's going to be a star too. I don't see why not. Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and drop this right back in the same tank. I didn't really want to, but I don't really have a whole lot of space left. And I have a ton more of these coming. That plant just completely came out. That was not cool. Try number 2. See if I can get it down there at all. Scoot up like shoe. Yeah, see what happens with that. I don't know. Kind of came out weird. Alright, we got one more to go. I'm just looking around at where the hell I can put it. Again, it's got no root, so I'm a little curious to see if this is gonna make it. You know what? I think I'm gonna put this one down in, and I'll go ahead and do this so that I can get a root tab in there. And before I can put that plant in, I'm gonna add a little football spectrum, and then just bore a hole down in it. All right. I think what I'm gonna do with this one is remove that big white rock out of this tank. I forget what the name of this is. Something cardinalis. It's a stem plant. You can see the roots all through it. Again, these tanks are injected with CO2, so as long as they're stuck in the soil, usually they'll grow nice. We'll see what we can do with this one. See if we can get it to stay over in here. When you can get them to stay, they turn into beautiful bushes. I love the plant, but the plant loves to come out of the soil. But that's pretty much the process. I may get another one going and take this Java fern out and put it in a pot and set it right back in there. I have another one back there that has become uprooted that I'll try and retrieve from back there and put it in a pot. We've gotten that one in a pot. So we've come quite a ways. Yeah, we'll see what happens with all this. Some of those Amazon swords were very healthy. Some of them, they all had roots. So, except for the one on the end that I didn't even notice, they all had roots. So that's cool. They now have a pot to themselves with a root tab and the whole nine. So that's good. I'm glad we have that taken care of. That was bugging me. I wanted to get it out of there. I'm very quickly going to have another one that I'm going to have to do. Like I said, I've got 2 more in the other tank. And those are way different. They don't have any of the red that you see in this one. This is a different one. I'm not sure. Like I said, I was given all of these. But I'm guessing I have 3. Probably easy 3 different types of Amazon sword here. This one gets very, very red on the bottom sides of the leaves. The other ones are very, very green. They don't turn red. They don't flower. I don't believe that's just the different environments that they're in. I'm pretty sure that's a different species of Amazon sword, because before I started injecting CO2 into these tanks, that plant was red. So, and as you see this one here, this is an Amazon sword as well. It has no red in it whatsoever. And if I showed you the middle of this plant, you'd see the baby leaves are coming out red, just like all the plants I just planted. So I'm pretty sure they're different species, but whatever. Pretty much all my plants are for sale because, again, I'm running out of room to put them. So I don't believe in throwing plants away. It breaks my heart to do. I try to do what I can to get them. I want to make an immersion table, but I don't really have a light. So until I get a light, there's not much I can do there, because they're gonna need a light to grow. And as soon as I have that, my 20-gallon will be an immersion tank, and that's where most of this shit will go. And I'll just put them in pots. I won't even put substrate into the tank. Just make the water level just over the pot, so that the water's just over it. So that when you put the pot down in, the water flows into the pot, fills it up, so that everything in the pot is underwater, but the leaves can grow and grow out of the water. And they can make the transition. Usually when you transition them from being immersed to being fully submerged, there will be a little period of shock in the plant. It might look like it's melting, but it will recover. It'll be fine. Like I said, this one was drained till all the fish were taken out of it. Drained all the way down like that from 11 o'clock in the morning till about 8 o'clock in the night, when my buddy showed up and helped me carry it in the house and set this up. We immediately filled it with whatever our tap water is, which is very different from what their tap water. And every plant we had in here went into shock. But again, just take your time. Keep following the process, and everything recovered. And now I have more than I can take. I have a Java fern over there that's sprouting little sprouts off the leaves every other day. So I'm killing Java fern because I have nothing else that I can do with it right now. So it's all for sale on Facebook Marketplace. So if you live in upstate New York, give me a shout. I can help you out. But yeah, no, that was the process. You saw what I did. I'm probably going to do a few more plants around here. But this is long-winded enough. So I will say thank you for sticking with me. This is John 3107 saying thank you. If you could hit the thumbs up, that would help a ton. If you like what you see, hit subscribe. I plan on doing this stuff all the time. Also, very heavy getting into welding by spring. I want to have at least enough equipment to start a little fab shop. Probably out of my buddy's garage at first, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so if you like what you see, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the thumbs up. Doesn't cost anything, helps us out a ton. Appreciate it. Thanks for sticking with us. Any comments you have, questions, put them down below. I answer them all. So thanks. Appreciate it, guys. See you next time.